daddy stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.
For today's Grimm adventure, we find ourselves about 3 miles outside of Calico ghost town. Hot day in the middle of the desert. Typically, I don't wear hats, but the sun out here in the desert is downright killer. And I kind of feel like some sort of dark, nightmarish cowboy out here in the desert sun, which is perfect because today we're seeking out some of the filming locations to a vampire movie known as From Dusk Till Dawn.
Everybody be cool. You be cool. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Low profile. You understand the meaning of the words low profile?
Sure. 2 of America's most dangerous criminals have taken hostages.
What is this? It's called a punch. I'm going to ask you one question, and all I want is a yes or no answer. Do you want to live through this?
Yes.
Okay, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
One night is all that stands between them and freedom.
This is my kind of place.
But it's going to be one hell of a night.
We might be in trouble. We have a bunch of fucking vampires out there trying to get in here and suck our fucking blood.
Now, their only chance is to fight back.
Oh, yeah!
George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis.
Welcome to slavery.
No thanks. I already had a wife.
From dusk till dawn.
The road that I'm walking along right now that takes you into Calico Ghost Town, believe it or not, is known as Ghost Town Road. Now for this video, we're not going to be visiting all of the filming locations to the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, but some of the most memorable ones, like right here in this stretch of desert. I'm going to line up some shots. This is where they built the Titty Twister. So here's the thing. Chances are, if you're watching this, you are a fan of the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. You've seen it countless times. It's a great movie, amazing cast, amazing special effects by the folks at K&B EFX. But I realize that there are going to be people who watch this who have no idea what I'm talking about, especially whenever I say things like they filmed the Titty Twister scenes. Well, here's the back of the DVD synopsis as to what From Dusk Till Dawn is all about. Basically, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino play outlaws trying to get across the border. In order to do this, I'm going to say enlist, but basically they kidnap a family that's traveling in an RV. It's Juliette Lewis, her brother, and her dad. Her dad is played by Harvey Keitel, who is a preacher who lost his way. And George Clooney promises them, we will let you go as long as you behave and you stay with us until morning. And basically the Titty Twister, which is filmed out here in the desert, was a vampire bar, but nobody knows this. But by the end of the movie, you're treated with all kinds of blood, guts, and gore, and fangs, and Salma Hayek. It's a great movie.
And now, for your viewing pleasure, the mistress of the macabre, the epitome of evil, the most sinister woman to ever dance on the face of this earth. Lonely dog, bow your head. Kneel and worship at the feet of Santanico Pandemonium.
I also want to point out that the order that we're visiting these filming locations is completely out of whack, not in sequence to the movie, but it's okay because the majority of the movie that we all know and love took place inside the actual Titty Twister. So that's why we're starting it here. With that being said, in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, the Titty Twister is actually in Mexico, but Hollywood movie magic, it was filmed here in California. In fact, right across this street, which again is Ghost Town Road, you'll find a road that goes back into the desert. Now I'm going to show the scene in just a moment, but I'm going to point out a few different things. In the movie, Harvey Keitel is driving the RV and he says we're here. And then we're greeted to the view from the RV as they arrive at night at the Titty Twister. Now again, the building and everything outside, that was set dressing. They built it for the movie and then they took it down. Now this is how I know that we're in the right spot. Ready for it? You see that mountain range in the center of your screen? Pay attention to that tall peak right there, as well as this little tiny peak off to the left-hand side of your screen. You can see those clear as day as they arrive and drive right down this road to the Titty Twister.
Hey guys, we're here.
All these people who drive right down this road to this tourist trap of a ghost town, not knocking Calico ghost town, but it's not a real ghost town. It's more of like a tourist place where you can go and buy candles and all that jazz. And one of the biggest roadside gas station oddities, a place called Eddie's World, is a couple miles up that way. Alien beef jerky, and people drive by this place constantly and they have no idea that this is where the vampire bar from Dusk Till Dawn was built. Man, I love it. Cool, right? Now again, pretty much the entire movie takes place inside the Titty Twister, which the facade was built right there in the center of your screen. Now we see the exterior of the Titty Twister again, as well as a different view of the mountains towards the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, George Clooney and Juliette Lewis are the only survivors, and as they make their way out, as all the vampires go up in flames, they're greeted with Cheech and his crew. And this is where we find out that he chose this place because it was rowdy and it was open from dusk till dawn. And Cheech gets punched by George Clooney.
What's the matter with you? Are you crazy?
Why, out of all of the godforsaken shitholes in Mexico, do we have to meet here?
One place is just as good as another.
You've never been here before.
I drove by it a couple times. It's a rowdy place. It's out in the middle of nowhere. There'll be no cops. And it's open from dusk till dawn. Hey, didn't you say you want to meet in the morning? Here we are.
I know. Again with the mountain ranges. But look at that scene again. But this time, look for that part of the mountain range behind Cheech and his goons, if you would want to call them. Especially, you see that discoloration right there? It'll blow your mind.
What's the matter with you? Are you crazy?
Why, out of all of the godforsaken shitholes in Mexico, do we have to meet here?
When it's all said and done, everybody gets in the car and they drive off into the desert, except for Juliette Lewis. They leave her there kicking dirt. I mean, literally, she kicks the dirt in the movie. And she'll be fine. Her whole family's dead, but she'll be fine. She has the RV and she has her life. Now, as they drive away, you get a shot down a road and you can see, let's see here. You can see that part of that mountain range right there, as well as the road. Pretty cool. And then at the end of the movie, we get the big reveal that in all actuality, the Titty Twister was basically a front for a vampire lair. The camera pulls back and we see what's actually underneath the ground, this old temple, if you will. And you can tell that it's a matte painting. But as far as I can tell, if they used this terrain, the camera was probably facing this direction. You can see that bow where there's a mountain on both sides of the screen and then there's land. This is where they had the temple. Before we head out to some of the other filming locations to this vampire movie, From Dusk Till Dawn, I know somebody's gonna say, wait a second, you didn't even mention Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez. Yes, the movie is filled with amazing actors. We got Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, Cheech, and Danny Trejo, to name a few. I mean, there's a lot, including Tom Savini, who had a very memorable scene with a certain weapon member. The movie was directed by Robert Rodriguez and written by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Kurtzman. Robert Kurtzman, the K in K&B EFX. See, it's this whole big family of horror and special effects. It's awesome. We now find ourselves deeper in the Mojave Desert for the opening shots of the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. The camera shows us this street right here, looking right down at the telephone poles match up, including that one right there on the right-hand side. In this scene, we have a truck come into frame as the police officer in the cowboy hat, I don't know if he's a ranger or whatever, comes in his car right towards us. And he pulls up right in front of this building that's on the left-hand side of the screen behind the fence. That building is Benny's World of Liquor. Now, sadly, because of this fence, we can't get a clear shot of the building, but that's okay because it has changed so much that unless you really know what to look for the finer details, you really couldn't tell because all the signage has been removed. And this is how Benny's World of Liquor looks today. See what I mean? You couldn't tell that it was used in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. But we get a good couple establishing shots as the officer walks in. Most importantly though, the shot that we really want is of the Gecko brothers walking out across the street to get in their car when the building behind them blows up.
What did I tell you? What did I say to you? I said buy the roadmap and leave.
What the fuck am I supposed to do, Seth? Recognize this.
He didn't recognize shit.
Seth, I'm telling you, the way he looked at us, you especially, I knew he knew.
Low profile. You understand the meaning of the word low profile?
Hey, Richie, how's your hand? It hurts like a fucking son
Let
of a
me
bitch,
tell you what
Seth.
low
Thanks for
profile is
asking.
not. It is not taking little hostage. It is not shooting police.
Even with all the
Setting
changes,
fire to a
this is as
building.
close as we're going to get to the actual shot of them walking across the street. Their car would have been parked to the lower right-hand side of your screen. But that's it. Benny's World of Liquor, as it stands today. What you're looking at right now is the Budget Inn Motel here in the town of Mojave. But in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, this was the Dewdrop Inn. In fact, right where it says Budget Inn, that's where the sign was. And for the most part, the motel looks exactly the same, including that giant motel sign. We see different portions of this motel a lot, including a scene where Harvey Keitel just got done checking in and he walks right towards the camera from this angle right here. You see the sign?
I can't believe he's stopping here. This place is totally cruddy.
Right now I'm looking at the front counter of the office. I wanted to see if there was a bell there. Because in the movie, George Clooney kind of goes a little crazy with the bell. No bell though. Sadly, no bell. They should put a bell there. How cool would that be? Pretty much the only part of the motel that has changed is the carport here. But everything like the office and the general structure still looks the same. Now, most of the filming took place right back here towards the back of the motel. You see those steps that go up to that second floor? In fact, I was talking to the owner of the motel and he said they did all the filming in that last room right there on the far left-hand side of your screen. We first see this portion of the motel after the Gecko brothers check in. The camera's inside the car and we see it.
She peed on the carpet. She shot my horse.
Do they have an X-rated channel?
No.
Do they have a waterbed?
Nope.
What do they got?
They have 4 walls and a roof, and that's all we need.
They pull right over here. There used to be a tree in another building over here. This is where he pulls and then he backs the car up to pretty much right where that silver truck is. The motel owner said that they did all the filming over here at this end room, number 14. I'm guessing this is where Harvey Keitel and Juliette Lewis and Scott's room was, because it's right over here. You see those windows between room 12 and room 11, right there in the center of your screen? This is where the Gecko brothers backed their car up, and they said we got to be quick because again they got something in their trunk. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, based off of how they move in the movie, I think number 11 is the room that they were staying in with the infamous bloody room. Yeah, this has got to be it. Now sadly I can't get the shot that I want because of the cars that are parked there, but these are the exact steps that are behind them as they unload what's in the trunk. And it's right next to room 11, so it makes sense. We now find ourselves in the high desert, in the outskirts of Victorville, California, for another filming location that sadly isn't here anymore. It was the restaurant, the diner, the side of the road diner from the movie known as Emma and Pete's Gravy Train. It used to stand right here.
We got about 2 more hours till we get into El Paso, which is right next to the border. We'll stop at a motel.
Again, sadly, all we really have to work with is the mountains in the background. But if you look very closely in the scene, you can actually see some buildings behind the gravy train. Those buildings are still here. There's some of them, as well as this full service station right over here. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time tracking down all the filming locations to the movie From Dusk Till Dawn. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.